For the past year, the United States government has avoided discussing what is potentially the most important 30 seconds of video footage to have emerged from the U.S. space program. The footage looks fairly innocuous, but some believe that something is going on here NASA doesn't want us to know about. On September the 12th, 1991, STS-48 lifted off into space for what NASA officials expected to be a routine shuttle mission. But what Discovery's cameras would capture high above the Earth during that mission would prove to be anything but routine.
I heard one or two of the astronauts exclaim on the shortwave radio, "What is that? What is that?"
NASA says the objects could be space ice, satellites, or debris. Ufologists interpret the footage as either alien spacecraft engaged in armed battle or an armed response to alien spacecraft by SDI, the so-called Star Wars defense system.
This particular day, they're flying over the Philippines. You'll see what looks like stars in the sky, and then you'll see these objects off to the right of the screen. Within a couple of minutes, you will see an object come out of the clouds to the north part of your screen, and it's heading to the north-northwest. In about 4 or 5 seconds, you'll see a flash in the lower left-hand corner of the screen, and then you'll see a streak of light go by that object. Just missed it there, and one in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. What's being enacted up there is basically a contact with an alien civilization, and that those particular craft are not from here. The flash that we're seeing is probably a mechanism of Star Wars.
One of the very strange things that happens is that the main object actually stops and sits there for half a second before it accelerates back up to the right. An ice particle could not do that. If they're not ice particles, you don't have too many other options. They're not space junk, they're not satellites, they're not meteors, because those objects don't change direction.
If you're a skeptic, it's easy to brush off. But if you're open-minded and you see this, there's something weird about it.
Dr. Mark Carlotto has 20 years of experience conducting digital image processing for scientific research.
These were not videos taken by someone in their backyard. These were taken aboard a U.S. spacecraft, so the integrity of the data cannot be questioned. NASA's explanation is that what we're looking at here are ice particles floating around the shuttle, but when you look at it more carefully, it doesn't make sense. If it was a thruster firing, when the thruster firing occurs, the orientation of the spacecraft should change, very slightly. But we don't see any change in the apparent motion of the stars, so that indicates the attitude of the shuttle has not changed from the thruster firing.
NASA's explanation defies the laws of physics, according to University of Nebraska at Omaha physicist Dr. Jack Katcher.
NASA's claim is that these are all pieces of ice, and that this flash down here was an attitude rocket adjuster to adjust the position of the shuttle, so it's going to push it in a certain direction, and the exhaust came up like this. Well, if that happened, then the particle should move up in this direction. Those two pretty well fit that scenario, but I have a real problem with the rest of them because, first of all, this one just starts here and continues on down this way, just straight the whole time. Now, that's the wrong direction for an exhaust in this direction, too. So I really have a lot of trouble seeing how you could make an explanation like that.
Space propulsion expert David Froning refutes NASA's belief that the objects are conventional spacecraft.
Its behavior doesn't look like a normal orbital debris. To make a turn like that in a conventional vehicle would just be impossible. And to do that, you really have to actually warp and twist space. These certainly do appear to be objects that are intelligently controlled.
NASA has issued several statements insisting the UFOs are chunks of space ice, but they refuse to comment on 2 additional sightings that occurred later in the mission. Here, one object is intercepted by a rocket-like projectile. The object continues as more projectiles pass. Later, on the dark side of the Earth, another object comes into view. Soon, a second, faster-moving object nearly collides with the first, then continues out of frame.
What if, then, they were extraterrestrial craft? Well, then, there are some very scary things happening here.
On February 25th, 1996, on Space Shuttle mission number STS-75, NASA launched a possible breakthrough energy technology experiment. They launched a 12-mile-long electrical conductor cable called an electrodynamic tether, which is designed to collect high-energy electrons in the Earth's ionosphere and magnetic fields. The motion of the conductor tether across the Earth's magnetic fields induces a voltage along the 12-mile length of the tether. Utilizing estimates in the charge densities of the Earth's magnetic fields and the ionosphere, the voltage produced is expected to be up to several hundred volts per kilometer. If successful, the experiment could produce a lot of electrical power. If additional power is driven along the tether in the opposite direction to that which it normally wants to flow, the tether, in theory, could push, creating propulsion against the Earth's gravity to raise the shuttle's orbit. The advantage to this revolutionary technology in propulsion is that it does not require any rocket fuel. If successful, electrodynamic tethers could prove a way to greatly reduce the cost of in-space propulsion. For example, the International Space Station could keep itself in orbit, saving nearly $2 billion in orbital reboost rocket fuel for every 10 years of the station's operations. But on February 25th, after the 12-mile tether began producing electricity, an unexpected overload of electrical energy fluctuating between 2 and 10 times that predicted, due to inaccurate estimates in the electrical charge of the Earth's magnetic fields, ionosphere, and possibly space radiation, fried the tether conductor cable and it broke, severing it from the space shuttle.
So the tether has broken at the boom. The tether has broken and is going away from us. Get it on the TV, Glenn. Please get it on the TV. The tether has broken. Copy.
If those entities, extraterrestrials, whatever we want to call them, are that smart to be able to get here with the kind of technology they have, they're obviously not going to allow us to go anywhere. But we've already proven what we can do. We mess up and destroy everything we touch, and then we kill each other. So I am sure that they are looking at our Earth and saying that these creatures are doing what they're doing to their own planet. They're not going anywhere. We're going to keep them right here and let them kill each other, but not coming out here where we are. So I don't think they're going to allow us to go anywhere. I doubt that we could even exist or survive anywhere else than the Earth anyway, because I think we probably are designed for this particular planet.
After September 19th, 2006, that a new era in the space started regarding the presence of these beings. What I mean with this, as you know, last 10th of September, we had a crash. We're not getting the image? Okay. As you know, the 10th of September, we had this crash between the Cosmos 2251 and the Iridium 33, because something happened. We don't know yet what happened because, as you know, the orbits of these satellites are always steady. They haven't been able to explain why there was this crash. And it's possible a new warning, because after September 19, 2006, we had the beginning of this new era. You have to remember that day, because a little object stopped the Atlantis from coming back. This object was there for something from 8 hours to 11 hours, blocking the Atlantis from coming back. That had to be a warning. That was not accidental. What they want to say is probably that the space, it doesn't belong to human beings, but to every single intelligent creature in the space. In that same mission, the Atlantis was able to record this light that came from very far to very near, stayed there for a few minutes, and then left.